Artistic Gamer 7, and welcome back to another speed build here on the channel. I have been doing a lot of community lots recently, but this one is actually a residential lot build here. I end up calling this one the Little Gothic Family Home. I think this style of architecture is Gothic. If you have watched any of my speed builds in the past, especially the residential ones, I honestly have a really hard time of, like, fully distinguishing whether something is technically, like, traditional or Gothic or Victorian or modern. I mean, there's some that I sort of have a pretty good idea. Modern and Victorian out of those ones that I just stated. Those ones I usually can pick up on pretty easily. Granted, there are some houses that sometimes have a mix of two or a mix of multiple styles and things like that, so sometimes I'm not very into architecture, and I never have been, though I like building on The Sims. Houses and stuff themselves, I don't pay attention to it that much, and honestly, I'm like that about several things. Like, for music, for example, there are certain genres of music that I probably lean more to, but I wouldn't necessarily, I hate all music from this genre, and I like all music from this genre. I don't necessarily like things based off of what they technically are or whatever, so I never really fully pay attention to that stuff, and houses would be the same way. My house that I have right now, I currently have no idea what it technically would be considered. I loosely put Gothic on there because I do think it's more of that Gothic style home. But this one in particular, especially when it comes to like residential lots, I tend to actually go and find a picture on the internet of a building somewhere on there that I like, or I would like maybe trying to recreate or trying to take elements of the build. A lot of times I won't necessarily take it exactly from the picture. One, you're limited in The Sims when it comes to certain stuff. Two, usually with pictures of houses and things like that, you actually can't see the whole entire house, so you can't see the front or the back, and sometimes depending on the angle, you can't see but nothing but one side. Sometimes the angle allows you to see what a side of a house and the front of a house looks like, or back and the side or whatever, but you normally don't get multiple pictures, and you don't normally can see more than two sides of a house. So, it is sometimes a loose representation of the house in the picture that I am trying to recreate, but I do usually pick a picture somewhere on the internet to at least guide me in a certain direction or help me figure out where I want to go with the build. This particular one, I chose it, one, because it sort of looked interesting, and it did look what I consider or thought was possibly a Gothic style house, and I never really tried that before. And also, the roof had a little bit of interesting design that I thought maybe I could replicate in Sims, but I'm always one of the first ones to say that I suck at roofs. When it comes to roofs on houses, that is the part that I dread working with the most, is the roof. So I did actually want to get something that would challenge me a little bit with the roofs and make me try different things with the roofs. But also something that maybe I could do. So I did pick this house particularly because of the way that I've seen the roofs. I eventually start adding fencing on certain sections of the roofing as well to give it like a border near the roofs as well. You'll see later. So this one I did highly focus on the way the roof turned out, and I actually really like how this build turned out on the outside and on the inside. When I was building it, I was keeping in mind, since it is sort of this more, and I did build it in Windenburg as well, and I do plan on adding this house into my main save. If you've watched my community builds, I am trying to actually turn my whole entire main save, except for like a few buildings here and there, into all of my builds. So this one will be going into my main world, and it is going to be in Windenburg. So I did keep in mind that it would be setting in Windenburg, but I also, because of the sort of the feel and style of the house, I was imagining maybe some Sims that would possibly live there. Some Sims that I was thinking that are in my main save. I was trying to think of a few different Sims that maybe I would move into this house later on. So some of their some of my random Sims have some influence in this house, just because it's sort of easier for me to detect, or like to think about how a house would build. Granted, some of the houses I sort of have someone in mind sometimes when I'm building them, but they don't necessarily have a family of their own yet. So sometimes the kids' rooms are just sort of me winging it, but like the rest of the house is sort of influenced by possibly one of my Sims, just to help me sort of get a style and decoration of the house, and also try to have it a little bit unique from different other builds and stuff that I've done. I don't want every build I've done to look similar, and if I was to style it just in a style that I myself would really, really like to do, then they would all start to get the same. Versus thinking of different Sims in my game and different Sims that I see from other Simmers that I watch and stuff like that, and keeping in mind different styles, it helps me sort of do a little bit differently. I will say that one thing I was really sort of disappointed in myself when I actually went back and was watching, like when I was editing the build and I actually went to go take the screenshots, which I sort of was bad at this in the first place, but I was getting better at it. But I think in this build I slacked up, and it was putting stuff on the walls. I normally, especially when I used to play Sims on my own particularly, I played with the walls completely down. But as I've gotten to the point where I like taking screenshots and I actually like showing the screenshots and stuff like that, and also where I go and take pictures of the builds, I've gotten to the point where I do want the walls at least partially up, so I do like the partially down, partially up. Down so I can see my Sims, but up so that there's still walls in the background and I just can't see straight through the whole entire house. So sometimes I still forget that the walls need to have stuff on them, so I think the walls were a little bit bare in this build compared to what I normally do. I do forget to also mention, I do always use bb.move objects. So make sure if you do go and download this, which this build will be up on the gallery, but if you do go and download this, make sure you have that cheat enabled before you place it. Sometimes I notice some of my builds and like some of other people's builds, sometimes if you don't have that cheat on, everything still places properly and stuff like that. But sometimes it doesn't, and this one in particular, I actually have the MCC have it to where my bb.moveObjects is automatically turned on, so there's a mode in MCC that allows me to do that. And I always have that in the testing cheats enabled automatically, just because, especially building purposes and things like that, it's just much easier to have that stuff already turned on and not have to remember to type it every single time. So I did automatically turn that on, but sometimes it still acts a little weird. But I did add this house to my main world, and when I first did it, I did it from the world screen, and I didn't actually physically go into the lot and then add it. I just added it from the world screen. And I guess because it was like that, it didn't recognize bb.moveObjects was on, so some of the bushes and a few things inside the house actually disappeared. So I do know this house will have some things disappeared if you don't have that cheat on, or they will move improperly, like go somewhere they're not supposed to be. So definitely make sure you have that cheat on before you place this lot, because otherwise some of the bushes around the outside and some stuff inside will not be there. As far as everything else should be fine. I was trying to get to the point that I did sort of model this thinking that maybe there's possibly a vampire who lives here or wants to live here, just because it does sort of have some older house style vibes going on, and I thought that sort of fit a lot of the vampire stuff that came with that game pack. I actually did tweet at one point recently. I don't know. I haven't, as the point of actually building, doing this voiceover, I haven't built it. But because I actually have so many builds that I've built around this time, I'm actually recording a lot of voiceovers tonight. So by the time that this build shows, I don't know, I might have already got it built, but I did put over on Twitter, asking what packs some of y'all really like game packs, stuff packs, and expansion packs, because I'm going to actually try to do a limited pack build at some point, because otherwise I just go through and look at everything. I do try to avoid using my first pet stuff just because the whole thing that revolved around that pack, and a lot of people didn't get it, or, you know, the fact that you had to have cats and dogs in the first place. So I do admit I try not to use that one. Which, I mean, there's not a whole lot of stuff in it, but there are a few things that I admit they are some little cute objects here and there that sometimes I want to use, but then I realize it's from that pack and I won't use it. As far as the other packs, I don't pay attention if I'm using them or not. But there is a little section up on the gallery that you can actually click on. Someone over on Twitter pointed it out to me. Like, they said they just found out that option. I went and looked, and it was there. I'm imagining that they haven't taken it away since last time I checked, but you can actually see what objects come from each pack when you are looking at the house, because some packs you may only have like 1 or 2 objects and they're easy to replace, so just keep that in mind. I use quite a few packs, but some of the packs may only have 1 or 2 objects that are actually being used. In the video, I did take out putting the lights up and also the bathrooms. I do that a lot just to also, like, save on time and to not make the video so long, which is basically the same thing. But anyway, but it's sort of, to me, the bathrooms and the lighting is sort of boring. And there are a few parts that it may seem like it's a little jump cutty or whatever, and that was because there's a few parts I left in because they wasn't too bad, and I figured once I sped it up, you couldn't notice it too much, or if you did notice it, it wasn't so horrible. So, or I may have just missed them. But I do a lot of times record these builds in sections because I can't do like one long sitting usually unless it's like certain builds. As far as my residential builds, I almost never can do them in one setting because I usually take so long with the residential builds compared to any of the others. But the second video that I had it in 4 videos because I worked on it at 4 different times. The second video had a few glitchy spots in it because every once in a while my recording device, and I never can catch it usually, every once in a while I get lucky and happen to catch it while I'm in the midst of recording, and I could stop it and try to save more footage that way, but it gets really glitchy and it gets pixelated, and it mainly happened when I turn the screen in Sims, but I don't even know why it does that, because it will do it random, because sometimes at first, when it first started doing it, the first time it ever did it, I thought it was maybe I recorded too much in a row, and like I was getting the device tired or something along those lines. But I've had it happen when I first recorded for that one day or whatever happened to. So I don't know what causes it. It doesn't happen too often, but it does occasionally happen, and it's sort of really annoying. But I didn't want to scrap that whole part, so I tried to cut as much of it out, especially the really bad pieces. So if you see like little tiny pixels here or there, or it seems like little jump cutty, all of a sudden, like, 1 minute you're looking at this section of the kitchen, and then all of a sudden you're over here and it doesn't seem like I turned. It's probably because I didn't. I probably had to cut a section out here and there. But as far as the interior of the house, like I was saying, I was keeping in mind that maybe it was like a vampire who lived here, or maybe a person who likes some of that older style taste mixed with the modern, because, you know, you got some appliances and stuff like that. But I did use quite a bit of vampire stuff here and there. I just thought it fit the outside of the house and sort of the look that I was sort of going for in my head. But again, I really wish I would have decorated the walls a little bit more. There's some people that I've seen their builds, or like they've been in my collabs, where they've done a craziness stuff on the walls, and it looks so great. But for some reason, I can't seem to get myself to get to that point. But I really do regret not covering the walls a little bit more. But anyway, downstairs there is obviously a dining room, there's a kitchen, and there's a living room. There's like a little laundry room that's behind the stairs. You can also convert that to a bathroom, or maybe even a storage room or something if you would like for your gameplay, especially if you don't have the laundry day. But I will say the laundry stuff pack is one of my favorite actual stuff packs, just because I actually use the wash machine and dryer so much. I personally like having it in my households, just because it adds like a little bit of realism, but also gives something for your Sims to do. Because I've had before, like some of the game packs and some of the stuff packs and things like that. You know, there when you work further towards the base game, there was times when like your Sims had nothing to do when they were at the house. So even if it's not something that's necessarily considered fun, doing laundry still gives your Sims something that they need to do and something they can do. And it also can affect them in other ways. So I do like having that. Also, you know, the random fire out of nowhere also gets you going as well, because your Sims are stupid and forget to clean the lint tray. Like, what? Granted, I forget to clean the lint tray in real life a whole lot, so can't really talk. But, you know, you feel like you have to clean the lint tray in Sims a lot more than you do in real life. But maybe that's just because I don't clean the lint tray as often as I probably should. I'm not really sure which of the two it is, but it just seems like you have to clean it really, really often. Oh well. So, but yeah, and there's 2 bathrooms downstairs as well. Upstairs there's 2 bathrooms along with the master. I do leave the master in the footage, I am pretty sure, because I almost always leave the master. Because honestly, especially for my builds, and I notice a lot of people's builds, and a lot of people I watch tend to cut out the bathrooms first. Because the bathrooms are almost, even if you use different colors and stuff like that, they're gonna have similar elements. Like, the bathrooms are gonna look the most the same in the whole entire house, and also from house to house. And to me, they're just the more boring part of the build, so I cut them out. I just like, I can save. The only time I leave them in is if I actually had a really, really short build, or I decided that the build is just a little bit too long and I cut it in half, and then by the time I cut it in half, it's not too bad. This one, I think it's gonna be right under 40 minutes long after it's said and done. So I don't like them getting over 40, and I really don't like them getting over 45. If they get over 45, that's when I'll start actually cutting them in half, because I don't want my speed builds to be that long, and I wanted this one to be a little bit shorter, but I was afraid to speed it up any more than this. So hopefully it's not too long for you all. I will probably add music to the end, and I think about at the 38 minute point is when the screenshots would start. So just to let you know, that's where the screenshots are going to be if you want to see those right away, or if you want to stay around and watch the whole entire build. Sometimes like stuff pops up and you want to at least see the build at the end, so there's that option, just to let you know that's where the screenshots are. I should probably have mentioned that a little bit sooner, but oh well. It's really hot in my room, and I can't really think, and I can't put the air conditioner on because it's too loud. I've had a few recordings where the air conditioner was playing in the background, and I tried to tone it out as much as I could, but I couldn't do a whole lot, and I hate when I do that. But I'm so used to the air conditioner being on, I don't pay attention to it. But anyway. As far as the upstairs, there is 4 bedrooms up there. One is obviously the master bedroom that will have the master bathroom attached to it. And then there is like 3 like kids rooms, or they can become guest rooms, or you can make them into a second office space. Maybe the downstairs like little study area that I have is for everyone, and maybe your Sim wants their own private office if they have a stay-at-home job or a job that really focuses on them being on the computer a lot. So you can change those, but I personally put them to where there's, I think, 3 kids' rooms. There's one that's supposed to be like a leaning more towards a teenage boys' room, a girls' room, and then like a young child's, like a toddler's room. I did have a lot of fun with the girls' room. When it gets to the girls' room, you'll see I did like this little corner feature that I thought was really cool, and if I was a little kid and I had my friends over, that would be like the spot that we was at all the time, probably. Like, that would be the corner we were in. Or at least in my case, when I had my friends over, when we used to play dolls, we actually would divide the room into pieces, and each person got to decorate that side of the room, or their section of the room, and make a house for hers, and that would be the side of the room that I'd want. I want the side that had that corner in it because it's cool. So, anyway, just a little let you know about me and my weird friends when we were younger. When we played dolls, we divided my house into big giant doll houses. My room into giant. I can't speak. So yeah, that is how it is, and you definitely could tell, like, if while I was decorating, I kept in mind that the parent is probably the one who's more into the older style house, as well as, like, maybe possibly vampire-ish, while the kids are maybe leaning more into newer things and stuff like that, because I like giving the kids' room a little bit of personality. The toddler's room usually has the least personality because, let's face it, a toddler can have a lot of personality. Trust me, I know this. But their personality usually comes from, like, their actual behaviors, and it doesn't reflect in their room so much. It's once they become a kid and they start wanting different things in their room and having more of a say in what their room looks like, that's when you can see their personality come out in their room. So, the toddler's room isn't going to really scream their personality. But anyway, bleh. My mouth is getting dry because, like I said, it's hot in here and I'm doing, like, a bunch of voiceovers all at one time. I do hope you like this build. I am probably going to start letting music play here in a little bit. But just to let you know, this build, like I was saying, is going to be up on the gallery. You can find it by doing #ArtisticGamer7 or by looking for my gallery name, which is ArtisticGamer7 as well, or searching the Little Gothic Family Home. I try to think of, like, a few different ways to let you find it. I usually do add more hashtags than just my name. I'll probably have, like, Gothic or Gothic style or something like that as well, because I think I achieved that style, at least on the outside of the house. Let me know if I did or not, or if you think I did. Also, let me know down in the comments if you like this house, and if you could see yourself using this house in your own game, or maybe even living in a house similar to it in real life. I will say, like I said, I really, really liked how the outside of the house turned out. That's probably my favorite part about it, is the outside of the house. Which, normally it's the inside of the house is what I most look forward to, but I was super, super happy with the outside of the house. I liked how it turned out, and I actually was happy with the roofs. Like, I did not struggle with the roofs for a very, very long time like I normally do, but, I did actually, really like how they turned out. So, and I hope that you did too. Definitely hit that like button if you did. Subscribe if you're not already to see future builds, create Sims, LPs, and such like that. I don't do just Sims, but Sims is the center focus. But, you never know what you're gonna find here on the channel. If you're not already subscribed, you can do that. Yeah. And also hit that notification bell so that you're notified when another video goes live. I definitely try to make sure there's at least one video, if not sometimes 2 videos a day. It just depends on how life decides to treat me and if my computer wants to work. So sometimes I've had computer issues recently, so, my computer is sort of like, no, I'm not going to work. But hopefully everything's fixed, so we're just going to hope for that right now. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the build with some lovely music playing. And don't forget that the screenshots are there at the end. And I'll see you in the next one.
you're busy, and all my texts are falling to the ground. Once again you tell the same old story. Yeah, it's all on me, should stop with all the doubts. But I can feel a change that's coming on.